People keep saying this, and I just want to say up front, people keep saying this, that Cardi B is Latina, but she's only half Dominican. She's half Black Trinidadian, so I don't understand how that turns out to be Latina. Dominicans are usually seen as Black, partly at least, and being a Black Trinidadian, well, that's just Black.
How do you not when your mother is a mixed black person and her
Oh, I see someone commenting. I'm sorry about that. Yes, I consider Cardi B Black actually, not mixed. Reason why is because she doesn't have a parent of another race. So yeah, I do consider her a Black person. That's just a fact. To me, I mean, like you might not like her, but personally, to me, it's like if you're mixed plus Black, you're a Black person, just like Beyonce, Rihanna. You know,
this is so weird to me. And when people do this stuff, it's weird. It really is. It's like, okay, when you think this way, I don't know what to do. I don't know. I, I don't even know how to see myself. People constantly say Cardi B is not black. I get so confused about this. How is she not black? Like, the lady literally looks more black than I do. And I'm being honest here. I know that because I put her through the artificial. I've done different things with her because I've talked about this often. And I've talked about this before with plenty of other people. I put her through what's it called? Different race analyzers, for example. It always comes back as black. So it's not just my eyes that see her as black. Actual, you know, designation of being black say that she's black. And I find it so weird that the lady, like, she looks to me at least a good 50% black or more. I don't understand where or how she does black. And by the way, obviously, I think I look black. I'm just saying that facially, she doesn't even like look. You know, sometimes people think darker skinned black people um, look part Indian, Asian, you know, different things like that because of the facial features. Her facial features don't look like anything about a black person. What in your mind is making you think this lady is not black?
oh no, there's so many comments here. You said about the parents, about Beyonce and Rihanna. No, they don't have two Black parents. They have two mixed parents. Well, not two mixed parents, one mixed parent, one Black parent. So does Nicki Minaj, so does Chanel Iman. A lot of people have that. Just like Cardi B. Cardi B's mom is Black. She's a Black Trinidadian. And, basically her dad is mixed. And you saying see someone's parents, this is ignorance at its finest, honestly. Because if you are saying looking at someone, you can tell what their race is, it seems ignorant to me because I've seen people in my family that look way more white than Cardi B's parents. and they had two black parents. So trying to claim that people don't aren't black because they don't look it is just ignorant. I'm sorry. To me, that's ignorant. But I just want to continue with what I was saying.
Don't know. And there's this thing, because I was talking about it the other day. I think something, oh, I was talking about Candace Owens and Cardi B, and I was saying how Cardi B, was implied to not be black by Candace, and I thought that was weird because one, they facially are very similar, you know, and racially they are very similar. Ethnically, they're the same basically. They come from the Caribbean, they come from black people, and their faces pretty much. I would say equally African. I might say that Cardi B's face might be slightly more in the sense that her lips are actually fuller than I understand. What is it? Is it just that you get confused because she likes it? Because that's the only thing that Cardi B has on her that's, I guess you could say, different for black people, but not even. If you look at people in Nigeria, they have the same skin tone. I mean, and typically she looks just like Igbo people, you know? So it's just like very weird that someone would say that this lady is not a black woman. Like, where and how? And how are you saying she's not a black woman? In what way? Nothing on her face is non-black. It's literally that of a black woman. And I was talking, like I said, the other day, and somebody was actually talking about how she looks like other Hispanic celebrities. So I actually looked it up, because you can actually look through like
Hello? Hello? Okay, good. Sorry about that. Actually, wait, let me go back. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm back. Um, I'll look at some of the things. Yeah, to me, Cardi B, she does look like she's Igbo. I actually saw a Nigerian who looks very similar to her, and I am going to post some photos in my description and in my front part. I have posted some photos here showing um, Rihanna, Halle Berry, things of that nature to show she looks more black than them. And I showed also some photos of Raven Simone and Bobby Christina and Whitney Houston. So you can see that obviously she does look like a black woman. She looks very similar to these women. She looks similar to light skinned black women. Sorry about the whole situation where I just turned off earlier, but the problem was just I had a quick power outage, and so then it turned out my internet service. Sorry about that. Somebody's working on something in the back anyway. Um, wanted to respond to a few other comments here before I continue on to what I was saying. Mixed race so-called black people under white supremacy law, like just like my ex, they don't speak for me. I have curly hair, light, medium skin. I've dated and traveled around the world. That's nice. And um, just because if you don't have over 65 to 75% of blackness, you're mixed. It's okay if you mix. Huh? Okay, well, I understand you're saying that, but there's like tons of people like Tina Turner, Condoleezza Rice, Vanessa Williams, who are less than 65% black. And they are black people with black parents. So, I mean, saying that it's not actually following in line with what black Americans are, even. Black Americans actually range from a little under 50% black to about 100%. That's how DNA tests have proven many Black Americans to fall under those ranges. No Black American is 100% Black, though. But um, yeah, that's all I have to say on that. I'm going to continue with what I was saying.
Face that she aligns with black people. You can look at different people, for example, with her. Specifically, Whitney Houston and Bobby Christine. They look exactly like her. They're light skinned too. They were light skinned too. And facially, you can see their nose and things of that nature are very similar to hers, you know. And last I checked, they are black people, right? Like, those are her main lookalikes. Her, Kelly Rowland, Raven Simone, Nicki Minaj, uh, Tracy Ellis, and I understand she's mixed, but most of the people in listing actually aren't even mixed. Uh, Rutina Wesley, Shannon Kane. And then they have a couple, and this is something like I said, when I do the racial analysis on her, for example, she often gets a little Indian. And that makes sense because if you look at her family, um, she's part Trinidadian. Now, the Trinidadian people like to try and claim that's not black. You look at her mother. If she's not black, then what is black? You can obviously tell her mom is black, and I would think a majority black by that matter. She's light skinned too. That's what I mean. People, when they talk about Cardi B, for some reason they start thinking or talking about black people as if the only thing and the only way that they look is like Lupita. When it's like, that's not the only way black people look. In Africa, Africans don't look just like Lupita. There are Africans that look just like Cardi B. There are Africans, honestly, that look less black than Cardi B. Because some Africans actually have very Eurocentric features, basically. They're not Eurocentric, but you know what I'm saying. People call it Eurocentric. It's not Eurocentric, it's just different facial features. So, I mean, saying that, Cardi B is not black, to me is delusional. And it's like, I think some people might not like someone, so they say they're not black. And it's like, from my point of view, I'm not a fan of Cardi B, but saying she's not black is just making me look insane at that point to me. Honestly, also, people always try and show her with lots of makeup and wigs or fake hair of some sort. And it's like, she was not born with makeup or wigs up. She looks a whole different way naturally. So underneath the wigs and makeup, she's still a black woman. You know, she's just a light skinned black woman. And you can hear from her, I think, from what she said. She said that she is a black woman. She's light skinned black woman. I think she perceives her mother as black and her father as mixed. If you listen to how she talks about her race, she talks about her father's side, like she calls it melodic, basically. But then she doesn't bring in her mother. Her mother is from Trinidad, and she's a black Trinidadian. Like I said, she gets some Indian, so I'm not shocked that her mother probably does have some Indian in her. But I mean, her mother's still a majority black, and you can tell that they are, fully or mostly not fully black, like 100% black, but you get it. She's black enough to be considered black, you can tell this. Look at their hair and look at their lips. Those two qualities usually are a telltale sign that someone is over 50% black. And then her nose obviously shows, her cheekbones and everything on her face. Like I said, I don't see any features of her that don't look black. Her whole face looks black. Her hair looks black. Her natural hair looks black. You know, so I don't understand what or where or how she doesn't have black features. She's just like, and to me, she's like the beginning of what actual light skin is, because she's like a little lighter than like Nicki Minaj, Rihanna, Halle Berry, and Beyonce. She's like a yellow basically. You know, she is really light skinned, but Tisha Campbell's light skinned. She's a black woman. There are plenty of light skinned black people. And like I said, from the people I listed off, most of them are light skinned black people, like Raven Simone, who she has a similar phenotype. She definitely has a very similar phenotype to Raven Simone. And you know, like Whitney Houston, Bobby Hussein. You can see, there is a similarity in their facial features. and they happen to be light skinned people as well. So I mean, like saying that she doesn't look black, she does. She looks like a light skinned black woman. Light skinned black women look like her, you know. And I find it weird that people will just say just because they're angry at her, try and make the standard of blackness a dark skinned black person. We can tell she doesn't have dark skin. She's not going to look like a dark skinned black person. But she looked like, a light skinned black person. And so does her mother. Her father looks biracial. He looks mixed. And that's what she's fighting for. Her parents aren't white. I mean, if they are white, the whole world would be white. So I don't understand how people go around trying to act like her mother looks white. Her mother looks light skinned. Her mother obviously isn't naturally that hair texture either. She presents. Her hair is probably like her daughter, where it's a four. I don't understand why people keep trying to assume the wigs and the like fake hair is what their natural hair texture is. We don't do this with dark skin black people. So why would you do this with light skin black people? So to me, it's just like weird that people would say her mother is white looking. Her mother doesn't even look part white. She looks black, and maybe a little Indian in there, you know. Well, like a lot of Trinidadians do, you know, but she doesn't look white. When you start saying she's white or she looks white, to me, I'm like, you have no grip on race, obviously. Because if you had a grip on race, you'd already know that she doesn't look, you know, white in any respect. That's just funny, honestly. White? Like where? How? Like I said, do we consider women like Whitney Houston, women like Nicki Minaj, women like Raven Simone as non-black people? No. She looks very similar to these women, and she was more black, than like a Nicki Minaj or a Ciara or like she looks a little bit more black than even like a Tyra Banks to some extent facially. Um, well, actually, she got plastic surgery. But you get what I'm saying. They're black people that are understood as black people, like Nicki Minaj and Ciara, who have much less African features on their face, especially Ciara. I mean, her face is. People always say she's a black woman because of color. Color never actually defined race. It's actually your facial features. And I mean, just look at her facial features. She doesn't have. She has very different features than black women do. But I'm just pointing. So I'm like, if someone like those two people can be read as black people, then that someone like Cardi B is clearly a black woman. They might be darker than her by a inch. They're not even that much darker than her, honestly. They're probably just a slight bit darker. Um, because they're more on the light brown range, and she's more on the light skin range. But you know, facially and even hair texture wise, she's more black. So it's like weird why people would try and say that she doesn't look black person. Me, I've always put her in the same category as like a Rihanna, basically. Someone with a black mother and a mixed father. she's exactly the same way. And phenotypically, their faces, you know, they Rihanna has a very African face, and so does Cardi B. I would say also because Cardi B doesn't have lighter eyes, it makes her look less African. Rihanna has light eyes. And Rihanna is like directly part white, while Cardi B's white ancestry from her father, it's a hit or miss anyway because Dominicans are between 20 and 60% black. So some of them are actually black too, and some of them are more like mixed. You know, it depends. On the Dominican. But point is, if those people are seeing.
Oh, give me a sec. I'm so sorry. Okay. Oh, I see some comments here. I'll comment and then I'll continue to talk about what I was talking about. Um, so some people are saying that she looks mixed, not fully black. I don't like Cardi B, but even if I did, I still wouldn't claim her to be black. Yes, I don't like her either. And I'm gonna get into talking about that actually soon. I do not like her. So this is not what that is about. To me, it's like looking at her. You see the photos that I posted. You see that I posted one of her photos next to Rihanna and Halle Berry and how she looked more African without makeup. And I showed her with makeup even. You can see her with makeup, see Bobby Christina, you can see Whitney Houston, and you can see what's her name, Raven Simone. And you can see that she looks just as black as them, if not more black than some of them, especially Raven Simone. Raven Simone actually looks she looks a lot more Latina than Cardi B does to me. And when I actually search them, like I said on the thing on the Star by Face, you can do it yourself. By the way, plug her photos in, and you will see that her lookalikes are literally these three people. So I mean, like I'm not making it up. She literally looks similar to black women. You put many of her photos in there, and you will see that most of the time she gets black lookalikes. And I didn't even notice this until I started putting black people into it. I've done this before with black people. They actually tend to look like other black people. I thought that people just look like other people, but I guess it doesn't work that way always. Anyway, yeah, so she does to me look black because of her facial features and her hair. The only thing that I can notice that people think that she looks, mixed because she's light skinned and she can wear makeup and she can wear wig. Or that is a wig, right? I like to be correct, but I think it's like a lace, right? Um, what was the next comment? Both her parents are mixed race. Not quite actually. Her mother is actually a black Trinidadian, but her mother's father is mixed race and her mother's mother is black. So she is just like basically Nicki Minaj because Nicki Minaj's mother is black, but her mother's so Nicki Minaj's mother's I think father or mother I don't know is mixed, but then Nicki Minaj has a mixed father. They're the same thing, literally. So that's what I mean. They're actually literally both mixed and black, but they're over 50% black at the end of the day. And Nicki Minaj, honestly, to me, I've always thought she looks, most of her family doesn't, but she just inherits more of the Indian look. She just does. If you look at her phenotype, she looks more Indian. You can't say that Cardi B looks Indian, Hispanic, Asian, or anything. She looks like she's a black girl. Now, I can understand that she's marketed herself and some things that she's done, she's tried to align closer to Hispanics. Like, I remember she said some comment about Selena, the Selena lady who died in the 90s. And she wants to be like Hispanics, basically. That doesn't really change anything about her genetics, her biology, or her phenotype. She can want to be Hispanic all day long if she wants to. Um, oh yeah, I like you being here too, the one and only. Nice to see you around. And yeah, I agree to disagree with you. And Cardi B does not look more black than Ciara or Nicki Minaj or Tyra Banks. I would say Tyra Banks is different. I'm not really sure about her because she had, I think, a nose job, but I'm not too sure about that. So I'm not adding her in there, but Nicki Minaj, yes, and Ciara. To me, her features look very drawn in. She doesn't have really soft features. You know, usually when I think of African features, I think of more so like Gabrielle Union, basically, or like Whitney Houston for that matter too, or Bobby Christina, or Cardi B. They all have soft round. Like when I'm saying round, I mean like their round cheekbones, the round soft nose, the full round lips, round eyes. They just the same continuum of features going on there. Anyway, and emancipation. Cardi B is not a black woman to me. It erases real light skinned black women. Yeah, like I said, you can keep saying that she's not black. I always hear people say she's not black, but they don't say it with any knowledge. Like they don't know what her heritage is. They just say, oh, light skin means that you're not black. Well, that's not really how that works, is it? No, it isn't. So to me, I'm like, no, her mother literally has a black mother and a mixed father. So she is over 50% black. She's a black woman. Her father is Dominican. He's somewhere between 20 and 60% black. So let's go in the middle of that 40%. 40% plus somebody who is black plus mixed. 75% black. 75% black plus 40% black, bang, that's over 50% black. So that's what I mean. No, how can she be 30% black if she's got parents that are both have African heritage? One she describes in a melodic nature, and the other she doesn't even mention that. She kind of describes them as black. Now, so that's why I don't agree with that. But yeah, but honestly, I would consider someone who is 25% black to be black. So obviously 30% black is black to me. That's my personal opinion, but that would be like a biracial black person. Because a lot of racial black people are actually 30% or 30 something percent black. I just don't think Cardi B is that mixed because neither of her parents are actually another race. Emancipation. I'm sorry, I didn't see your before I get into it. What were you saying? Light and caramel girls. Higher black DNA is a light black standard. Mexicans have my complexion, but they are considered dark. Yes, I agree with that. I just consider Cardi B to have a higher percentage of African than 30%. And I've said why I think that. Like I said, um, to me, it's just like obvious that she doesn't, to me, look like, you know, any. She doesn't have any features that are non black, honestly. And her parents aren't white or Asian or Hispanic, like mestizo Hispanic, by the way. Neither of her parents are mestizo Hispanics. They are mulatto, mulattic, like she said, one, and the other one is black. That is the same as Rihanna. To me, black is basically over 50% black, not, less like, not like, because some people think like over 65%. Most Black Americans, well, many Black Americans, won't even make that standard. Added to the fact that if we really get down to it, technically Black Americans don't have one estimate in their genome, they have several because we're multi generationally mixed. And when you're multi generationally mixed, that means some of your DNA is going to be less African than other parts. So you might have one chromosome, say 16th chromosome is 40% black, but your ninth chromosome is 100% black. Obviously, someone who is like that is a black person, you know? So, I mean, trying to say someone who has more African, I mean, less African ancestry and is more like 40%, that's not going to define them racially to be another race because there are plenty of black people with the same phenotype. No thanks. Oh, I see you now. That's okay. We may not agree, but I like your perspective on most things. Well, thank you. Yeah, I remember you from long ago. Yeah, I appreciate your presence. So, yeah.
And I want to also say that what's black are generally seen as black in America. On average, black Americans are 78% black. So how is Cardi B not a black woman when her mother is literally a mixed black person and her father is a mixed black person? I mean, her mother is a full black person, with some Indian. Probably not full, as she describes her mother's mother as fully black, and her grandfather, I think, is a little mixed. I think maybe half. So, with that, she's no different than Nicki Minaj, you know. There's a black mother and a mixed father. Nobody considers these people mixed people. They are seen as black people because that's what they are. Isn't Tyra Banks, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, Rihanna, Chanel Iman, aren't they black people? They all have a mixed parent. That doesn't mean they're not black. They have a mixed parent and a black parent. That's considered black. I was just having this interaction with someone else. Someone was trying to act like I should be considered mixed, the mixed parent. Many times people have kids with mixed people and they may not even know who that person is mixed. They might not even see that person as. How can someone have a mixed child and not even know that the other parent is another race? If someone is black enough to look like a black person and be accepted among black people, anyone who has a kid with that person who is black is going to have some black kids. Well, that's why Cardi B is black. Her father might be mixed, but her mama is black. Therefore, she's a black woman. And you can see this, like I said, in all her features, her hair, her lips, her nose, everything. You know. I think a major part of it is that people associate her with not being, you know, black because she is more so seen as someone who is Hispanic because of her accent and speaking Spanish and things of that nature makes people think that she's Hispanic. She's not Hispanic. She's only half Hispanic. And Dominicans are hardly even seen as Hispanic. People always think she's Hispanic because she's marketed as Hispanic, as a Latina. That's by her music and things of that nature. That's just the way to exoticize. And, that's just marketing. It works for her. And that's fine, but that's not going to change her race. Her race is what she is innately and what she looks to be. She will go around in society being perceived as a black woman who happens to have lighter skin. Honestly, would a white person even see her as light skinned? I'm not sure. Any of the time, you have to be very, very light. She's just typically light skinned. She's pretty averagely light skinned, like yellow. So a lot of people who are white might not even recognize her as light skinned in most cases. Dominicans aren't even seen as white or Latino, and that's only half of her. So people trying to pretend that she is not black because she's Dominican is ignorant because we all know she is black and that we know Dominicans are seen as black people on average. They aren't seen as white. They're not seen as Latino. Latinos, especially the mestizo Mexicans, the majority of Hispanics in America, would never see those people as Hispanic. They tend to treat them like they are black people. and they don't recognize them by looking at them as, you know, Hispanic people. They see them as black. Amara La Negra, people always try and point to as being a black Dominican. But the thing is, yes, she's black, but her facial features aren't even very black, if at all black, honestly. Are her features influenced by African? I'm not really sure. Features. Cardi B definitely has way more African features than Amara La Negra. You guys act like dark skin defines your blackness. But if it was really that simple, then wouldn't Indians and Asians be considered black? It's not about that. Your race has to do with more your phenotype and your genetic blood. Her phenotype has to do with her facial features. So her facial features and her hair are clearly that of a black woman. So claiming that she's anything else implies, I feel like some people are just being a little delusional and not actually looking at her for who she is really. Or maybe they focus on the costumes she wears with her, makeup and wig and stuff that makes her look more Latina, but that doesn't mean that she is really a Latina in real life because what does she look like with all, like, how she is naturally? She looks like a black woman, as I have shown in this photo. Yep, she clearly looks like a black woman. Amara La Negra just looks like she's darker, but her face is very Caucasian. I would say Amara La Negra actually looks much more mixed than Cardi B. Cardi B just looks light skinned. Cardi B has all the African features that one can think of. She has the lips, the high cheekbones, a round, broad nose, and softer profile. She clearly looks like a black woman, but people focus too much on everything that's said around her to actually focus on what her race is. Cardi B's race is not affected by any of her behavior or other inside reasons why people might not want Cardi B to be considered black. Her blackness is a fact. You can't change it or try and dress it up or hide it because it's always there in her blood and in her phenotype. It's the most prominent thing in her phenotype. That's why, would you say, you know, Whitney Houston or Bobby Christina would be considered, anything but black? Of course not. They're black people. They were. And, she looks very similar to them. So how can you say she doesn't look like a black woman? I don't think it really matters. Cardi B has been nice to black people. He has said colorist things about black people. Many light skinned black women do that, and brown skinned black women do that. Dark skinned black women do that. Do this because they have this insecurity about being black. So they tear other black people down, light or dark, on their black features. This has nothing to do with Cardi being black or not. It has to do with Cardi B maybe being a victim of a lot of different racist situations that have turned her to internalize maybe possible hate towards herself. Now, I don't know if that's actually true because I haven't really looked at the remarks that people have made. That I've seen some people say that she actually says that she's black and that she's like more on the pro black side of things. So I never really understand which is actually true about her. And I really don't care. She's inconsequential. But I'm just like, with her race, whatever she says or does to black people has nothing to do with if she's black. If she's black is a fact that can't be changed by, you know, different behaviors that she has. Race is more physical, it's genetic, it's phenotypic. And, people talk about race controlling what you do. I don't believe in that. I think race is strictly something that has to do with your phenotype and how you look, not to do with your personality or behavior. Many dark skinned, brown skinned, and light skinned black women and men say bad things about darker skinned black people. And, we are a colonized people, so we've struggled a long time with, you know, racism and accepting our blackness. I myself have experienced situations where dark skinned black people would call me the N word because they have such internalized hate that they wished that I too hated myself just because they hated themselves. So it's not about her being black or not if she's been negative to black people. It's a physical matter, it's a fact. If she has a black mother, a mixed father, and she has a phenotype that is completely black, then it's safe to say this woman is black. She may have been around her Dominican side that is known to have self hate and internalized it and use dark skinned black women to feel better about it herself. You know, I've heard that she wasn't accepted by Dominican people to begin with. And maybe that internal hurt made her feel like she wanted to be accepted by someone because, her Dominican side didn't accept her as a Dominican because she was on the darker end of it. Because if you look at it, when it comes to mixed people, she has mixed, she has different features. Like she has lighter skin, her hair is different um, compared to black people sometimes. But because she's about a 4A. But compared to mixed people, she has darker skin and, lighter hair. So Dominicans are generally thought to be a mixed race people in their country. So they promote the whiter features beyond the more African. Therefore, she receives more rejection from them. And maybe with Black Americans, she feels like she has less rejection. Because at the end of the day, she is a black woman, but she looks lighter skinned than a lot of other black people, which can, I guess, to some sad individuals think that, it carries them somewhere. I am not a fan of Cardi B at all. I am just recognizing facts. on blackness, you know. I am a fan of Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, and Rihanna more than her. You might as well add Iggy Azalea too. I kind of liked her at one point, but anyway, I don't like her music, and I am not a fan of her at all. I don't like her rapping style, and yeah, in general, honestly, I'm not even into rap music. I prefer hard rock, metalcore, and country. And I love a mix of all those three too, because that's how I was kind of like raised. I was raised on alternative rock music, so this is not my type of preference. But like all in all, like I'm saying, I'm not saying her behavior or her personality is a role model for black women. I am just talking about her race, you know. I'm not talking about is this a good image for black women or trying to speak well of her. What I'm trying to do is point out that this lady is clearly black, whether you like her or not. And that's why I think she's black, because she has every feature of a black person except light skin. Light skin is actually an African feature too, with plenty of Nigerians with her complexion. I honestly think she would fit perfectly well in Nigeria. That's all I have to say. Thanks for listening and goodbye.